expression. I wanted to stay hobby and stay me. The doctor.
What's going on, folks? The aftermath, the day after. Fix my little hat here. There we go. We are at the day after. We already got news about Jason Kelsey. So we're gonna see what we're gonna see with him. I don't think he's spoken yet, but man, that was ugly last night. That was definitely ugly. Talked last week about what's going to happen if, knowing Todd Bowles was going to blitz, we knew Todd Bowles was going to blitz, and what would happen if the Eagles still came out like unprepared. And that's what it looked like. Now, I don't know what they went through over the week. Again, I don't go to their practices, but it looked like they were unprepared. That's the only thing you can say. So, to that end, it would not surprise me if Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman move on from Nick Sirianni. I don't know that they will. And I'm kind of on the other side, too. It wouldn't surprise me if they kept him, because you're still talking about a guy who 3 years running went to the playoffs. So there's something to be said for that. But to look that unprepared, to have your quarterback kind of running for his life and making the decisions, like, even if you claim like this is on Hurts and you didn't like the decisions that he was making, this was going on the whole year and nothing ever changed. To the very end, we were complaining about hot routes. To the end. And nothing, at least from what I can see, nothing ever changed. Nothing ever changed. This thing's hurt my head. Hold on. Whew. So as far as coming prepared, what else are you supposed to do? I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't know what else or how else you can prepare. when you know it's coming. They sent every blitz known to man, and it still didn't help. It didn't help a thing. So, oh man, I forgot to fire this up. But we gonna see what we gonna see. So there's gonna be a lot of news that comes out this week. So I expect to hear a lot more. I'm waiting because I want to hear what Jason Kelsey says about his situation. We all know he's retiring, but I want to hear it from him. I don't want to hear it from Adam Schefter. I want to hear what Kelsey says. Because here's a situation where everybody wants to be the first to get the story out, but in a situation like this, I want to hear from the player before I hear from anybody else. And that's kind of, I always think that's kind of dirty. It doesn't go that way. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast right now. Everybody wants to put it out first. And, it is what it is. Let me see. I'm going to go live on Facebook again. So, but yeah, man. So we got to deal with that aftermath, all the laughing we did at the Cowboys fans, and admittedly, that was fun. Because the difference between us and the Cowboys fans, at the end of the day, we both sitting on the couch. Nick Sirianni and Mike McCarthy need to get together and go bowling. Because they were both god-awful. But I'll say it like this. The expectations for the Cowboys were a little bit better than ours. Our slide had started 6 weeks ago. 7 weeks ago, really. But the Cowboys had been consistent. And that's why I said last night, the Cowboys were the fandom and everything that was coming for the Cowboys was legit. What's going on, Vince? Trying to get a lunch break take, bro. What's up, Byron Jones, homeboy? Yeah, the Cowboys thing was legit because Cowboys was whooping everybody's ass. Cowboys were doing it right. Alex, if you're listening, don't repeat that. I'm sorry. I should have known better. I got some young people listening. Alex Brownfield out there in the snow. Got a snow day today. So I apologize for the bad language. I hope your dad's not mad at me. But yeah, man, Dallas was doing it up. So all of the talk that was coming from Cowboys fans was legit. So on that end, their collapse at the end was monumental. They had everything they needed. They were at home. They were 8-0 at home, all that kind of stuff. Talked about that last night. So it is what it is. But the Eagles, everybody was saying the same thing. We know what our issues are, defense, injuries, all of that kind of stuff. Because at first, remember, the first half of the season, all we talked about was our injuries. What are we going to do? We bringing in Kevin Byard, Shaq Leonard, Moreau and Cunningham, and we bringing all these guys to do patchwork. The Kobe Dean went down, then Cunningham and Moreau had a good thing going together, and it was good until it wasn't. Then the Kobe Dean came back, and then he got hurt again. Reed Blankenship was getting hurt. Sidney Brown was coming in. He needed to play more. So it was what it was. Robert, I'm starting to lean that way. Alan Benson, what's going on, frat? Vince, I'm with you, man. Sean Desai did more than less. With less. Sean Desai did more with less. Absolutely. I don't think we needed him. I want to know, and this is one of those stories that you're going to hear from somebody after they have been cut or left or whatever the situation is. However this plays itself out. One of those players that we don't keep, we're going to hear that story about what actually happened with Desai. And I'm waiting to hear that. Because, Vince, I'm with you, man. I don't think Sean Desai, with everything that was going on with the injuries and all of that kind of stuff, we were still keeping people out of the end zone. The tackling thing, there's not really much you can do about that. To me, the tackling issue is a head coach's issue, because that is a mindset that starts from the top. When a coach steps on the field and says, we are going to be a physical team, we are going to force turnovers, we're going to strip the ball. When you put that mindset, when you start that type of talk, everybody buys into that. Everybody, when you go to the practice, one of the things I used to do with my kids when I was with the GT Stallions, I used to do this drill. I would always do it either before or after practice. And I would have the ball. And I would always tell the kids, what do you do on the field? And everybody would say, get to the ball. And I would say, what do you do? Get to the ball. If you're on offense, make sure you get to the ball. And then I would take off running, and all the kids would chase me. And I would run around, and eventually I'd tire up, and the kids would catch me and hold me. And then you would get there, and I would have to make sure all the kids got to me and touched the ball. And I'm saying that because that's one of the things that you set as a coach. You set that aggressiveness. You set the tone for practice, for everything that goes on. You set it from day one. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to be physical. We're going to do A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. And then you go from there. But I don't think we ever did that. We don't practice enough for it. So, Robert, last night they made some plays outside of tackling. They made a few plays. The defensive line was making plays last night. But at the end of the day, if you cannot bring the ball carrier down, you are going to have problems. You are going to have problems. You know who's laughing today? Debo. Because Debo's going back, and he's looking at, like, I told y'all he was trash. I told y'all Bradbury was trash. So Debo was laughing. And it was weird. Uh-oh. Let me see. Everybody's telling me I went mute. Hold on for a second. Thank you for that. Appreciate you, Frat. Let me see if I can switch this mic up. I'm probably running out of let me see if this one's any better. Can you guys hear me now? Put a thumbs up in the Facebook chat if you can hear me now. So hopefully that's a little bit better. If not, I'll take it out and we'll do it better. Is that worse? Sweet. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for the heads up, Frat. But yeah, we got to do a better job. We have to do a better job. Basically, we got our butts kicked. We couldn't handle the blitz. We've been talking about the blitz for weeks, and for us to show up, and that performance is what we give. When we knew they were going to blitz and we still didn't have hot routes, we know there's a blitz coming and they got 6 people coming across the line, and we still got all of our receivers running 10 and 15 yards down the field. That is coaching. That is the scheme. That is not Jalen Hurts all of a sudden not wanting to get rid of the ball. That's the scheme. And I agree. I heard one of my buddies say this last night when Jalen took that safety. When he took that safety, he was lost because he didn't know where to go with the ball. We had a play, I believe it was before the safety. We threw a screen to Kenny Gainwell that ended up getting either no yards or we lost a yard. But as soon as the ball was snapped, he went to the left and hit Kenny Gainwell. And Dallas Goedert was wide open. And we didn't even look in that direction because the play was the screen. So we're not even giving anybody else an opportunity to get the ball. Now, Dallas Goedert, he got his issues last night. People were making, trying to make some type of sense of the conversation he was having with Jalen Hurts, and looked like there was some frustration there. But I'm like, dude, you was dropping balls. You dropped 2 balls last night, I believe. So You know, um, Vince, we were trying to figure that out, man. But you know, Goddard was dropping balls too, so he is not exempt. He is not exempt. What's up, Pete? So I mean, like I said, a lot of this stuff might come out later, and it's gonna have to be from somebody that's not with the organization no more. But they look like they having issues, like they lost and they don't know what to do. And I don't know how many times, and you can really see it when they show you that angle from behind the quarterback, that camera angle from behind the quarterback. When we called the plays, they had the blitz, and that whole middle of the field was open. And we didn't try to go towards the middle all year. But that's another thing that we've been paying attention to all year, and nothing ever got better. Nothing. We stopped going to the middle of the field. You can go look at what is that, Next Gen Stats, where they give you the passing tree and they break it down and all that kind of stuff. We vacate the middle. We don't attack it, and I don't understand it. That's coaching. That's scheme. Because it's not like Jalen's not throwing across the middle. Nobody's going to the middle. That is a scheme. That's how it was drawn up. That's not something Jalen can make up on the line of scrimmage. That is what they go over in meetings and on film. That's coaching. That's coaching. I don't think Sirianni is a good X's and O's guy. Brian Johnson needs work. I think Brian Johnson might be good enough one day, but he needs work. He needed to take his lumps, and I guess Sirianni didn't want to do that. So I don't know. Pete, I'm with you. I'm not shocked by it. I'm not going to act surprised. We've been seeing the same behavior all year. So if they're going to make a move at head coach, they better do it quick, because now everybody's interviewing and all of this and all of that, and we do not want to be in the same situation like we were when we hired Sirianni. If y'all remember, when all of that stuff went down with Doug Peterson, that was late in the game. Most of the interviews had taken place, so we were scrambling trying to make a decision. Everybody else had made their decisions and made their hires. The Eagles were scrambling, and I think Doug Peterson thought that was his leverage to be able to do what he wanted to do. And Howie and Jeffrey cut him loose. So my thing was, Doug Peterson must have said some really bad stuff for them to let him go like that when they let him go. Because I guarantee you, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to get rid of Doug. Doug must have asked for something that was a little bit out of bounds. That's the only thing I can think of. Why else would you willingly put yourself in that situation? Everybody else done made their hires, and that's why we ended up with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni definitely wouldn't have got this job if the timing had been better, because there would have been better prospects out. Now we are in the same boat. We are in the beginning. We're not waiting. It's not going all the way to the Super Bowl like it did last year while we lost Shane Steichen and Gannon. So are they going to use last year's experience? And, a couple years ago, are they going to use that experience to make this decision? I would think so. So, so I don't know what's going to do. Vince says he thinks the reaction to Hurts and Goddard was something maybe Jalen said on the sly. I don't know, because you don't normally see that type of behavior from neither one of them. So I thought it was odd. But Goddard didn't have his best game either. So it is what it is. So I don't know what's going to happen. Jason Kelsey's out. And it sucks that that's how you have to go out. That sucks. Everything you've done for this organization, and that's how you got to end it. And you could tell when they got that shot of him on the sideline, and you could see Stoutland kind of did the, where you blow the lips. He like he was saying, this is a tough one. And you could look in Kelsey's eyes, because if you remember, he took his helmet off. Then he put it right back on. Because if he took that helmet off, he was going to start boo-hooing. And I believe Stoutland told him to put it back on. That's what it looked like to me anyway. And then he hugged him and like he was just emotional. So, and it's a shame that that's what everybody goes through that moment, but it sucks for him in that situation. You want better for him because of all the things that Jason Kelce's done for Philadelphia and just the way he's represented this city. You wanted better for him, and you didn't want it to end like that for him. And if anything, that should have been a rallying cry to play better football. But woulda, coulda, shoulda don't do nothing but rhyme. So it's a shame. We're going to miss Jason Kelce. I'm a big fan of Cam Jurgens. I think he's plug and play and he's ready to go right in. I don't think we'll have any problems. Obviously going to be a drop-off at center because he ain't Jason Kelce. He's first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. And you don't get those that come around. Him, Fletch, BG. I think BG might end up getting into the Hall of Fame, or maybe we're just too enamored in Philadelphia. I don't know. BG says he wants to come back. I don't mind that. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a player coach. So, Vince, I'm with you 100%, bro. If Lane Johnson goes and Kelsey's gone, that's bad for business. I don't think Lane Johnson's going to retire. I think he's got 2 or 3 more years left. And he's still playing at a high level. Not too many people that are beating him. So, yeah, that sucks for Kelce, man. I wanted to see, like, he's one of those dudes where you want him to stay around forever, but he can't. That's the nature of the beast. So, we still got Lane. We still got Mailata. Mailata is going to continue to get better. At the end of the day, as long as Jeff Stoutland is here, we good. If Jeff Stoutland decides to hang it up, we got real problems. So as long as Stoutland University is still open, we're okay. Now, what's next for Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts got to get back to it. Whatever he did from 21 to 22, he needs to do that again. But I believe it's all on who the coordinator is. Because here's so we look at it like this, between 21 and 22. So he gets into the offense, right? First time in his career, college or pros, that the same offense will be there for him the next year. Last year was his second year in that offense. So he had the answers to the test. And you could see he ran that offense well. Shane Steichen leaves. Brian Johnson comes in. Nick Sirianni's installing his offense again. All of that kind of stuff. And Sirianni claims it's the same plays that Steichen had, and I'm not buying that. Something was different. Because it's got to be more than just back then Jalen was running RPOs. So what happens when people catch up with that? So all of our coaches, Brian Johnson, Matt Patricia, Nick Sirianni, our chess game was suspect. It was god awful. Ghost Wolf, the young ones have got some great veterans to learn from on this D. Let's hope they take the helm. I agree. I don't know what Fletcher's going to do, because even at Fletcher's age, he was playing at a high level this year. I feel bad at what they did with Hassan Reddick. I don't know what that was. The man damn near led the league in sacks last year, and then all of a sudden you want to drop him into coverage. Like, what are you doing? So, I don't know what they're going to do with Nolan Smith. Are they going to have him as a linebacker or a rush edge? He's too light to be a rush edge. So, who knows? But Jalen is yeah, he got to get back into the lab like he did 21 to 22. And that just proves again the importance of good coaching. He's already told us that, hey, he likes to be coached hard. That's what he said. And sometimes I just don't think Sirianni is that guy. Brian Johnson definitely is not that guy. Brian Johnson might be a good coach, but he ain't like a fire and brimstone type coach. He don't strike me as that type of personality. At least I haven't seen it. Yeah, Vince. If y'all don't know, everybody on Facebook, I'm on YouTube Live. Everybody on YouTube Live, I'm also on Facebook Live. So, yeah, Reddick is probably going to ask for more money. And you know what? He deserves it. He deserves it. What else you want the kid to do? He got you ridiculous sacks. And even the way they moved him around this year, he still got what, 11? So, what's up, Alfie? So, yeah, Hassan Reddick is going to ask for his money, but he deserves it. Period. It's one thing, I understand players trying to get their bag. Even with Hargrave last year, he deserved it. But we had to make some decisions. So I get that. That's the cost of doing business. But you got a homegrown kid from the area, from right in Camden. If there's anybody that you pay the money to, is him. He's from here. The perfect soldier for your squad. Doesn't get into any trouble. Not a diva. Comes to work. Does what he has to do. He's not a talker. You don't see him on many interviews. And when he does do interviews, he gets right to the point. And the only thing he does is gets out on the field and does what he does best when they give him the opportunity. So if anybody deserves to get the bag on that squad, it's Hassan Reddick. He lived up to the expectations. And you got, how many other people you got 4 years in a row of sacks? How many other people have that? Not many. So he, in my opinion, he is somebody you want to take care of. Period. Sirianni, this performance may have cost him his job. It's that simple. Talked about it earlier. Just not being prepared for the blitz. I don't know. Just the only thing I could liken it to is if you're in a situation where you're listening to your coach, and in the back of your mind, you're saying to yourself, "This dude don't know what the hell he's talking about." That's what could have been happening in the locker room, in the film room, because this is not a locker room thing. So get that out of your head. It don't work that way. What's up, Fuji? This is not a locker room thing. This is something with Sirianni, because he's an offensive coach. This is what happens in the film room. Because you watching film and they're narrating what they want you to do, and you're looking at film and drawing up your game plan, all of that kind of stuff. And at some point, some of the vets had to be kind of giving him the side eye, like, are we really calling this? Is this really what you want to do? Or in the back of their mind, they've already got better answers, and it's like, why won't we just do it? So this is not a locker room thing. To me, this is a film room thing where people are looking at Sirianni like, dude, you don't have a clue. Or they looking at Brian Johnson like, bro, you ain't got a clue. Because whatever they talked about when it comes to picking up the blitz was not enough. Clearly it was not enough. Yeah, Fuji, it's going to be a lot of stuff going on by the end of the week. We're still, us and Dallas are going to be at the top of the news chain by the end of the week. So, yeah, I think that's a film room thing. And when players check out on you, that's just that's just confidence that confidence as a player that this dude don't know what he talking about. Everybody knows that guy. Everybody knows that guy that was on your team or at work. Every time they come around, they want to jump in your conversation, whether they know what you're talking about or not, and they want to play it like they're informed on this or that. And it always turns out that they are not. They just want to jump in the conversation. But you have to prove you know what's going on. So if you go back 3 weeks and you listen to what A.J. Brown was saying, he can't say it. So he did the best that he could, because that was a situation where he was so frustrated. He was so frustrated. He had kept quiet for so long, and he was so frustrated that he could not keep his silence anymore. So he had to figure out a way to let some steam out without blowing up the whole locker room. So he did it the best way he could. But we all know what that look is when you frustrated and, you know, and let me say it like this. He did the right thing and he said the right things, because he wasn't trying to throw anybody under the bus, but clearly he was not happy with those coaching decisions. He was not happy at all. So I don't know if I doubt that him and any of the coaches got into it, but you don't have to when you see it for yourself. And the reason I can say that is because I've been through that situation. You can look at everybody else's conversation. You look at Baldy. You look at Barrett Brooks. You look at Ike, Seth. You look at all these guys on the radio now. Big Hugh Douglas. You look at Tank and Irvin Fryer. Everybody's saying the same thing. You look at Jason Avant. Now I listen to Jason Avant because I know he has ties with Greg Cosell at NFL Films, and anytime you're dealing with Cosell and those guys, they watch so much film it's not even funny. So I know they're doing the homework. So I give him more credit than most other people. I try to watch people that watch film. And when those guys are all saying the same thing, the big guy in the sky don't lie. Film don't lie. Everybody was saying the same thing. And we never changed it. So who's that on? That's on the coach for not having his guys ready. Fuji's asking me, do I believe A.J. Brown will be back next season? I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a fan. I hope so, man. I hope so. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. And honestly, and it also depends on what's going to happen with Sirianni. Because, I mean, let's be honest, 6 weeks ago, nobody ever would have envisioned this. This was so far out of the consciousness, it wasn't even funny. Wasn't nobody thinking that Sirianni was going to lose his job? We 10-1. We 11-1. We getting it done. Even if we do lose a couple games down the stretch. But it's not that we lost. It's how we lost. And we kept losing the same way. And he kept saying the same things. And nothing was changing. Nothing's changing. If you go to work every day and you see that same coworker always eating your lunch, if you continue to put your lunch in the same place or you don't confront that coworker, it's you. If you have issues, it's you. So everybody knew what the situations were. You heard me say the issues with the Eagles are not complicated. We can't tackle. We got to figure out a better way to tackle. And the offense has no creativity in it. To me, those are not very difficult fixes. You can only go so far That I will admit. But there are some things that you can do to help your cause out. Coach has been doing it for years. And I hope, Mike, to your point, I hope that the reluctance to do some different things doesn't cost the Eagles one of the best receivers they've ever had. Ever. I don't see it like that. And even the way Devontae Smith performed last night. Like, we got two dogs at receivers, and we don't use them right. We don't. And I don't understand the big play and trying to get 3rd and 5, and we throwing the ball 30 yards down the field. We've been talking about that all year as well. We didn't have to do it. It got covered up a little bit when we were winning. Wasn't nobody complaining about it as much. But once we stop winning, you got a problem with it. So that's my biggest thing. When you have somebody on your team and they continue to make the same mistakes, and it looks like the optics are that they don't even make an effort to get it changed or make it better. And that's what it looks like watching our offense with Sirianni all year. How come we don't have no hot routes? We were saying that from the beginning of the year. Week 4 was when everybody's antennas went up. Because we let an inferior Washington team take us to the limit. And we got lucky. We got lucky both times with Washington. So, and then, fast forward to Arizona. You let a 3-win team come in and take your lunch money. You got to be better than that. So, I don't know. Now, as far as who's going to stay and who's going to go, I don't know. I don't think that you're going to let somebody like A.J. Brown walk. He's still under contract. So I don't see that happening. He's still got a strong relationship with Jalen Hurts. And I believe that trio between Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown are the best in the league. The question marks is, what are they going to do with DeAndre Swift? Are they going to pay Hassan Reddick his money? Because both of them deserve it. They didn't use DeAndre Swift correctly. Second year in a row, we wasted a running back. Not to mention, as a running back myself, I feel horrible for what they did to Rashad Penny. You wasted a year of that man's career. He could have been somewhere else, getting some snaps on special team, doing something. He wasted away. And y'all didn't even use him. So, I don't know. We could have kept Sermons if they were going to do that. He costs less money. He can pass block. He's a big back. Should have kept Trey Sermon. So who's making that move? Is that a Howie move? Is that a Sirianni move? Sirianni still ain't recovered from the whole Sean Desai, Matt Patricia thing. So, and plus, all 3 of them gone. Matt Patricia, Brian Johnson, Sean Desai. All of them should be gone. And the shameful part is the only person that I would think that might have an opportunity to stay is Matt Patricia. Because Sirianni brought him over. So his chain is probably a little bit longer. Desai, I wouldn't even flew back on a plane for what they did to him. Be out of there. Yeah, Mike, we're going to be spending some money. So, but to your point, everybody in YouTube land, my friend Mike Fuji, he says Dallas Goedert's salary goes up to $15 million and Landon Dickerson is due for a new contract. This is why Howie does what he does. This is why I call Howie the Wizard of Philadelphia. Because this is what he does best. He can do the contract game He does it better than anybody else in the league right now. So I have full trust in Howie. I might not like some of his picks and some of his decisions in the past, but when it comes to getting contracts done and things of that nature, Howie's been the best in the league, period. So from that standpoint, I trust him. Dave Warner, what's going on, man? I appreciate you watching, bro. And as usual, everybody on Facebook, check me out on YouTube. Pro Fan Talk on YouTube. Check it out. Log in. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the Super Bowl. But yeah, man, Howie's got a lot of work to do. And he's got a lot of money to shift around. But he's good at doing that. He's like I just said, he's the best at doing that. So from that aspect, I trust him. Implicitly, I trust him. Our problem is, what are we going to do on defense? Because Bradbury's out. Slay's probably going to be out. You got the young guns coming in, Keely Ringo, Sidney Brown. Avante Maddox I don't know what his contract situation is, but I don't know. He didn't look particularly, I like Avante Maddox. He can't stay healthy. Eli Ricks, is he going to be good with more snaps? We got to find out. What are they going to do with Nolan Smith? I say put him at linebacker. Nobody can escape the power of the Super Bowl hangover. I see you, Charles. Hey, you ain't lying. Except maybe the Buffalo Bills when they went 4 times straight. So, but you know what? That to me, that's not a hangover. Think about what we went through with so here's the question. Let me say it like this. If we didn't have the injuries in our secondary earlier in the year, would our defense be this bad? Would that chain of events happen? With Desai getting demoted and Patricia coming in, and would the same course of events happen if we hadn't had those crazy injuries earlier in the year on defense? Because we lost a lot of guys at the same time. We brought in one linebacker. Miles Jack comes in. He's building houses. Then he decides he wants to retire. Then he decides he don't want to retire. Like, what's with that? Or if you want to throw a little conspiracy curve on it, Miles Jack comes in. We think he's a good addition. So it's going to be Miles Jack, Nick Moreau, and Zach Cunningham. Or no, I think we got Zach Cunningham after Miles Jack decided to retire. But my point is, maybe Miles Jack saw something and was like, nah, not here. Mike, I would disagree with you. Mike says we never appreciated C.J. Gardner-Johnson. No, I'm sorry. We never replaced. Okay, that I agree with you. I thought you said we never appreciated him. I agree. We never replaced him. We never got somebody that was as aggressive and could get in your face and talk smack to you. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson could ball. He got 6 picks for us last year. He should have had 8. Should have had 10. He dropped a bunch of them. We wasn't sniffing. How many interceptions did we get as a team this year? 5? I don't even know. We were not getting to the ball at all. At all. So, you're right, Mike. We never did replace that talent. I thought we were okay, and this is based off last year. That's why the thing with James Bradbury is such a bad taste, because James Bradbury was solid last year. Didn't nobody care that they gave him that contract? They were like, he was solid. If we can get that type of play for another year, we're good. That's what the consensus was with Bradbury. And rightfully so. He had a solid, if not for that stupid call last year in the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? He had a solid year. So I understood the money. Slay was a reaction when we re-signed Slay. If you remember, I said this the other day. If you remember, Slay was already on social media talking about thanks for everything. Philly was lit. His wife was putting stuff on social media because they was packing up, getting ready to go. Then the C.J. Gardner-Johnson news hit. And then they re-signed Slay. And Slay was like, this has been a whirlwind. At first I was packing and now I'm staying. And then, so the C.J. Gardner-Johnson thing, and I've said this before, I think he overshot the market. That's what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did. Because he ended up signing with Detroit for $7 million. Which is chump change. We could have did that. What I think happened was what he was asking for was so far out of the realm of normalcy. Howie was like, not no, but hell no. So I think he overshot his market. Now, I don't blame him because he balled out. So he went for the bag. I just think he took it a little bit too far. And he was probably asking for something like, dude, ain't nobody in the league getting this. So why do you think we're going to give it to you? That's what I think happened. I don't know for a fact, but that's what I think. He just way overshot his market. And Howie Roseman was like, no, close the door and sign Bradbury and sign Slay. So, we appreciated CJGJ, but we didn't want to pay that money. And it ended up costing us. Yep, you're right. It ended up costing us. That was the wrong move to make. Letting Denard Wilson walk and keeping Brian Johnson, that was the wrong move. We should have kept Denard Wilson, let him be the defensive coordinator, and got a new OC in here. That's what we should have done. Hindsight is 2020, though. That all sounds good now after we've seen everything that we've seen. So, this is what it is. So now we got to get ready for these uncomfortable conversations. And everybody wants the whole staff to be fired and all of that kind of stuff. And the reality of it is that ain't going to happen. These three coaches right here, Sean Desai, Matt Patricia, and Brian Johnson, most likely all of them will be gone. Head coach is still up in the air. I'm 50-50 on that. If they keep him, it wouldn't surprise me. If they fire him, it wouldn't surprise me. Based on the way he finished. Because that was god-awful. That was god-awful. We were 10-1 at one point, and we couldn't get to 12 wins. Are you serious? And we lose to the Giants twice. Or the second time. We lose to Arizona. Like, that shouldn't have happened. Mike, the top priorities going into the offseason are coordinators first. You got to have the coaches first. Then you got to figure out what they're going to do with the money. Who they going to pay and who not. You already know Kelsey's gone. So now you got to get another replacement in here. But all of that's draft stuff and getting into the combine. So that's coming anyway. So to me, the priority right now is to figure out what you're going to do with your head coach. And if you are not going to keep Nick Sirianni, go about the business of finding his replacement ASAP, because we can't wait on this one. If we're going to fire Sirianni, it needs to happen, and we need to have his replacement announced before the Super Bowl. That's what I think. So we'll see. I'm already tired of seeing the clips of Jeffrey Lurie stewing in the box. So, like, don't get mad, get better. That's what I say. If Sirianni ain't the answer, make the move. Make the move. Very similar to what I was saying about like early in the year about Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins wasn't getting it done. Make the move. Put Oz in there or Julio, somebody that's going to get it done. If James Bradbury wasn't getting it done, make the move. Have that tough conversation. Hey, you're not getting it done right now. We love you, but we're going to move you back to backup, and we're going to let this kid play to see what we can get done. But they wouldn't do that. The best coaches are the ones that know how to make those moves and had them tough conversations, and it didn't seem like we was doing it. I could be wrong. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Because I know I always use the example of you looking at a Jimmy Johnson or a Parcells, Dick Vermeil, guys like that from back in the day had no problem telling you you wasn't getting the job done. And let you know it's nothing personal. This is business. And right now we're in the business of winning games. So we got to get somebody in there that's going to help us win games. And for some reason, we can't do that. So to me, in my opinion, the Eagles' priority should be figuring out what they're going to do with their head coach. Because everything starts from the top. If we don't have the head coach situation right, it's going to be bad for business for us. And we still have a little bit of a window for the Super Bowl. We are still in our window. So my prediction is it's going to be Baltimore and San Francisco playing in the Super Bowl. But I think our window, as bad as we played down the stretch, we still made it to the playoffs. We looked like crap, but we still made it. So we got to get some things fixed, and we got to figure some things out. And I am looking for some announcements before the end of the week. At worst, there should be some major changes before the Super Bowl comes around. So we'll see what's going to happen. We shall see what's going to happen. We can boast about the Eagles going 10-1, but to be honest, they were barely 10-1. They surely didn't have the same confidence. Ghost Wolf, you are correct. But here's the issue with that. I don't disagree with you. But 10-1 is 10-1. I don't care how you got there. I don't care if it was lucky. If you go to NFL.com right now and look at what our record is, it shows you the wins and losses. It doesn't say almost wins. It doesn't say this was a win, and in parentheses said, but they almost lost this game. It doesn't say none of that. You either win or you lose. So 10-1 is 10-1. And eventually, like always, the cream will always rise to the top. Period. And when we beat Buffalo, when we beat Dallas, they weren't ready yet. Then when you come back around the second time around, Dallas was a little bit better. Buffalo has gotten a lot better. So the cream will always rise to the top. And you just got to play it out. There ain't no almost losses or almost won. You either win or you lose. Period. So lots of changes are coming for our Philadelphia Eagles. They got to make some tough decisions, have some uncomfortable conversations, and it's going to be a very busy news cycle this week. Very busy news cycle. So, but I'm going to get up on out of here. I've been rolling for about 53 minutes. So I'm on my lunch break. So we got to hit it back. Appreciate everybody for joining me. Vince, tell everybody I said what's up at work. Got a lot of work to do. And we'll see how it ends. We'll see how this week ends up. That'll be very telling. We'll see how this week ends up. So I guess we'll be all watching on the couch to see who makes it to the Super Bowl. So be it. But I'm going to get out of here. You can catch me on my YouTube channel, Pro Fan Talk. I'm putting out content every day. Ghost Wolf, I appreciate you too, bro. Byron Jones, I appreciate you, homie. Check me out and subscribe on YouTube. And every Thursday at 7 p.m., I will be on the mothership A2D Radio for my Thursday night show, which is also called Pro Fan Talk. So, putting out that content every day. I appreciate y'all. Tell your friends. Bring a friend. And I will talk to y'all later. Go Birds.